Everyone, go to sleep. Mafia, wake up. Who would you like to kill? There's been some funny business in town, and I've got this whole pot to anyone who can tell me what happened. Jackie and Ricky were seen walking past sundown. Rumor has it Jackie was the last one seen with Ricky before he disappeared. Just this morning, he was found sleeping in the Connecticut River.
I never do Ricky like that. He was like a brother to me.
I don't know, Jackie. You're the only suspicious one here. Who else could it be?
Well, now, you all don't know the full story. While Jackie was the last person seen with Ricky, Ricky was seen alone after his encounter with Jackie.
Rose, you didn't come home until late and you seemed a bit out of sorts.
I don't like you pointing fingers at me.
Time for final bets, folks.
All in.
Oh, hell no.
You're on. It's over, Jackie. Why'd you do it?
I swear I didn't.
They'll never believe you.
Time's up. Reveal your cards.
Welcome to the Transcript.
Hi, I'm Chloe Ritt.
And I'm Summer Sorensen.
And welcome to the Transcript. This week, the Transcript looks into the life of women in STEM, talks about the death penalty, examines the spread of misinformation.
Hamped Up checks out Unified Basketball, Takeaways goes to Wahlburgers, and the game show hosts another family feud.
After 2 years of brutal fighting, the two sides of the Ethiopian civil war have agreed to a permanent ceasefire. The agreement was made after more than a week of conversations facilitated by the African Union between the country's government and the Ethiopian People's Revolutionary Front. Though this is not the end of the conflict, it is the end to the violence and loss of innocent lives caught in the middle of it, as well as a big step toward civil peace in the country. In other news, Paul Pelosi, husband of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, has recently been released from the hospital after being attacked in his home last Friday. He was bludgeoned in the head by a hammer and suffered a skull fracture after the attacker, who was trying to kidnap Nancy Pelosi, realized it was just him as she was in Washington at the time. He remains under doctor's care but is at home with his family. I'm Gavin Knight Richard, and thanks for watching.
With Unified Basketball being a new addition to the Northampton High School athletics program, not many people know a lot about it. Unified Sports are a team made up of players of all different levels and abilities. With the Unified team having won the 2021-2022 MIAA Special Olympics MA Unified Basketball Team Sportsmanship Award, after last season, we spoke to players to learn more about this award and what Unified Basketball is.
Teamwork means forming a community with your teammates. It means really putting up a unified front against other teams and really having a lot of good communication to be able to perform well.
It means that we're sharing the ball, passing, and working together, be there for each other and work together as a team.
I love the community on a team. I love the friendship you find on a team and like the unity and the bonds that you make with all of your teammates.
Like passing the ball and communicating with their team.
Most of the time, most people are being respectful most of the time, and that they listen to the coach most of the time, and work together and have fun.
We're doing very well this season. We're 5-1. And yeah, we're just doing very well. Teamwork's great. Everybody gets along well, and it's just been really fun so far.
Thanks so much for watching. See you next week.
There have been more school shootings per year in America than any other country in the world. Until 2016, Florida law allowed judges to use the death penalty if there was a majority vote from jurors. In 2017, Florida abolished this law and now requires a unanimous vote to impose this sentence. Recently, the Parkland shooter, who killed 17 people at a Florida high school, received a vote of 9-3, with 75% of jurors supporting his execution. However, because of this law requiring a unanimous vote, he will receive a life sentence and not the death penalty. This decision has caused a lot of anger and backlash from the victims' families. We spoke to NHS students, staff, and a local lawyer to hear their opinions and learn more about the situation.
One of the things that every state has to do, because it's required by the Constitution, is that the jury has to be able to weigh what they call mitigating factors against aggravating factors. The mitigating factors are the issues about the person, their background, who they are, and then also the nature of the offense against the aggravating factors, which are the things that make the crime awful. And every one of these crimes is awful. So that's required by the Constitution. But then the way that gets carried out by each state is different. And the Constitution really just creates a baseline. And then states above that are allowed to carry out the death penalty in the way they want.
Do I think the death penalty should be allowed? I think I have mixed feelings about it, honestly. I feel like since this guy killed 17 people, I think he should receive a worse consequence in life. I feel like death is just not necessary because it's like, it doesn't help anything. It just kills him. Like, it's like over. Like, he doesn't know what to do right next time.
Do I think the death penalty should be allowed? I think saying no to anything just outright, I think is a bad idea. So maybe there should be extreme situations that it should be allowed. So I wouldn't say it should be completely outlawed. So does the Parkland shooter deserve the death penalty? If there's going to be someone that did, I would say it would be someone like that.
Personally, I don't support the death penalty as an entire system because I think it is very unfair because you can see that most white men that are inmates don't get the death penalty as much as black and brown inmates do. So I think the system as a whole is very unfair, determining on race and gender and class. In a state like Florida, where the death penalty is allowed, the statistics were 9-3. 9 people voted to get the death penalty, and only 3 people voted for the life sentence. And I think you need the majority to vote for the death penalty in order for it to be allowed. And I don't agree with the Parkland shooter only getting 1 life sentence for killing 17 people. I think he should have gotten a harsher punishment.
I believe that the death penalty constitutes cruel and unusual punishment, and it should be banned in the United States. So in the context of the Parkland massacre, I understand the perspective, especially the anger from the community, from the parents, in that the death penalty was not imposed. I can understand that, and it goes back to my understanding of the Constitution.
Thanks for watching. To find out more about the death penalty, visit deathpenaltyinfo.org. See you next week.
This week, we joined Model UN. Model UN gets a taste of world politics and teaches students the fundamentals of international policymaking. We talked to club participants and club leaders to see what Model UN is all about.
When I was younger, I was a little bit scared of public speaking and debate, and I thought it would always be really cool to improve and practice doing that. And I think that since it scared me a little, it would be a really cool club to join. I didn't really know NHS had any clubs like Model UN. I'd really only heard of a couple of clubs, so I thought it was really cool when I heard about Model UN and the chance to just practice like debating and public speaking. But I've had a lot of fun so far this year, and I'm super excited because in a few weeks we have our first like mini sim coming up, like a practice debate. And I've liked like figuring out the fundraising and like how we're gonna get our club going, but also just like learning about how like the procedures work and just learning more about like Model UN.
I joined Model UN because I was trying to throw myself into like more clubs and stuff and get myself more involved in like school activities, and I thought it sounded interesting enough and it'd be a great way to get involved. So I joined Model UN because I wanted like an after school activity that was something that would like, I don't know, just like kind of be a challenge, but like not like super like, I mean, I already do sports, and like I wasn't trying to join something like hard like math club. I would recommend Model UN for someone who's interested in joining a club because, you know, it's a great like medium level commitment. You got to do some research sometimes, but it's mostly just like having fun with your friends and working together, and it's kind of like a challenge, but it's a fun challenge, you know, it's like a puzzle.
Model UN has been around since at least 2014. That's when the earliest date we can find. That's how long our records go back. But I think it's been around longer than that. But this is the first year back since COVID with a completely new government and new people in the club.
The main purpose of Model UN is to simulate an actual United Nations conference and teach people diplomacy skills, public speaking skills, and just helping people learn about like the world and world issues.
Anyone can join Model UN. We are expecting some people who have already contacted me saying that they had fall sports but want to join after that, and they will join after that, and that's completely fine. There is a little bit of catch up, but you can still join.
One thing is that you really don't need to know anything about politics or public speaking before you come in to Model UN. We teach you everything. We're all learning together. It's basically everyone's first time in the club, so it's really like everyone is open to making mistakes, and there's no shame in that. One activity that we are holding this Friday is a bake sale. So come out after school and we'll have some really yummy treats. And throughout the year, we also hold mini sims and then attend conferences at different colleges where we participate in Model United Nations.
Thanks for watching. If you have any questions about Model UN or want to join the club, make sure to go to one of their meetings every Monday from 3:30 to 4:30 in room 115. Have a good weekend.
Hello and welcome to the Game Show. This week we're doing Family Feud again, but this time we have two wonderful new clubs, Band and D&D Club. For those who don't know how to play Family Feud, we polled 60 NHS students and we have their top responses up on this board. We will then ask these two teams to guess the top responses, and they will receive points based on how many people put those responses. All right, so I think we're gonna head it off with our first question. We have, what is your favorite fall activity? And we're gonna start it off with Ezra this time. And we'll go for Lucy. Ezra, can I get one guess for your favorite fall activity?
I'm gonna go with apple picking.
Did we have apple picking? Yes, we did. Can I get a guess from D&D Club now, please?
Pumpkin carving.
Did we have pumpkin carving? No, we did not. Ezra from Band got it correct. It's going to Band for your first guess. What are we feeling?
I would say sleeping.
Sleeping. Did we have sleeping? Yes, we did.
Oh.
So put sleeping up on the board.
Oh.
What?
Yes. I don't feel like that should have been an answer you should have allowed.
I feel like this is what we got. This is what the poll got. You can't disagree with the poll, but you can't agree that people are stupid.
Did you like interview an old folks home?
This is what NHS students polled. This is what they said. Their responses.
Wow, but you're really in tune with NHS students.
Can I get another one from Band, please?
Yeah, like just eating food.
Eating food. Was eating food up on the board? You know, we're gonna give it to you. Number 4 was eating fall food, and that's honestly close enough.
I just don't know what other activities could be.
What can you do in fall? You gotta
trick or treat. Apparently sleep and eat food.
Fair. Ezra, can I get another guess from you?
Yeah. Jumping in a big leaf pile.
Jumping in leaves. Do we have jumping in leaves? No, we do not. That is our first X for Band. Can I get another guess from Ezra?
I'm going to respectfully request you throw it to my teammate over here.
I'm going to respectfully decline your offer. Okay. What about just like Halloween? Halloween! Halloween was indeed one of them. 8 points, not bad.
This is rigged.
Shut up. Can I get your final guess? Ezra.
What about like fall sports?
Fall sports. Did we see fall sports? No, we did not. So that is band's second X. And that gives D&D Club one chance to guess what this third one is and get just those points. Can I get one guess from D&D Club?
Thanksgiving.
Did we have Thanksgiving? No, we did not. Our third answer was hiking.
What?
I will. Don't blame me, blame the people.
Y'all are wrong.
Ending it off, we have D&D at a resounding 14 points. And our winner, Band, at 74 points. That's all, folks. Be sure to tune in next week for another episode of the Game Show Show. I don't know what's going to be next week. We'll figure that out. You'll have to see next week.
He's sick. My best friend's sister's boyfriend's brother's girlfriend heard from this guy who knows this kid is going with the girl who saw Ferris pass out at 31 Flavors last night. I guess it's pretty serious.
Alex Jones, host of popular alt-right news source InfoWars, has been ordered to pay nearly $1 billion to the victims of the Sandy Hook shooting, in which 28 students and teachers at Sandy Hook Elementary lost their lives in 2012. This case is in response to false claims Alex made where he referred to the victims of the shooting and their families as being actors and propagating the idea that the shooting was a hoax. The jury awarded various sums to the victims' families who were harassed by fans of the show in various ways, including Jones supporters urinating on graves, threatening to dig them up, and claiming that the victims and their families were being paid to talk.
The thing that makes this so hard to tackle is that it's spreading via networks of trust. So it's really hard to put a stop to that, right? Because to stop misinformation, you don't have to convince people. It may be easy to convince people, don't trust this news source, don't trust this account, right? But to tell somebody, don't trust, this family member, don't trust your father or your sibling, that's much, much harder, right?
7 of which had mercury in it, and he became autistic in a very short period of time. We had scientists from around the world. Now, I'm for vaccination.
Can you tell me the name of any of these scientists who claim this because they go against?
If you count the legal votes, I easily win. If you count the illegal votes, they can try to steal the election from us.
They used to be more significant when I was younger, when I was your age. When people made mistakes in the news, it was like, it's like a big deal. But I feel like there's so much washing information now. I just think that the well-intentioned factual mistake is almost like a dinosaur. It just doesn't exist anymore.
Misinformation is a mistake, an accident. Say somebody hears something that's false, but they think it's true, and they spread it. That's misinformation. Disinformation is when somebody intentionally creates a falsehood and tries to get other people to believe it. So that's more like propaganda. The danger of disinformation is that it is intentionally created to be false. I think of disinformation as weaponized information. People are trying to get you not to take your COVID vaccine. How? Well, by starting the rumor that there are microchips in them. How do you stop a liar? You take away their microphone, you take away their megaphone. I mean, Alex Jones literally goes to events with a megaphone and screams at people as if his voice were not loud enough already. And I mean, you can't just go after the Twitters and Facebooks of the world. You have to go after, Akamai. You have to go after all of the companies that host and run this traffic.
Nancy Pelosi, another victim of far-right conspiracy, recently had her house broken into and her husband beaten nearly to death before police arrived on the scene. He's expected to make a full recovery.
According to a study done by the Institute for Statistics, less than 30% of the world's researchers are women. Historically, women in the fields of science, technology, engineering, and math have been erased from textbooks and not given credit for their work. This week, we talked to NHS students and staff in STEM classes to find out the importance of women in these fields.
I take STEM classes because I just think STEM and like science in particular is super interesting, and taking math and science like at the same time, for example, gives a good background to like they help each other, like problem solving and stuff.
I have attended a women's STEM conference recently, and it was at UMass. They brought in 4 or 5 different women who are in different fields of STEM, and it was really interesting to see their perspective. There was a software engineer, a physician, a physicist, like stuff like that, and it was really interesting to see.
So I am fortunate to say I have not experienced sexism in my classroom, but I have as a student learner. So in college, I had more experiences of sexism as a woman in STEM as I was taking higher level physical science classes personally. There were a lot of men in fields like chemistry or physics or engineering. Math is a class you take a lot of as a science major as well. So in those classes, I was one of the fewer women in the course, which even as a baseline experience can be unsettling. In some group projects, there was sometimes that air of, well, you don't know physics as well, you can't do the calculations as well as men in STEM. It's so important to get women involved in STEM. First off, just so that we can have more equal representation in science classes of all levels. That power of imagery is really important, and seeing more women as practicing scientists will hopefully encourage more young girls to pursue science. But it's also just a really good idea to have lots of different types of people in any field. We celebrate the knowledge and the shared experiences that any one person can bring. Everybody thinks differently, so the more people that are involved, the more solutions that we will be able to make.
So what interests me in teaching STEM classes is that I think that they are really interesting interactive classes. I think that they introduce problem solving for the not just math, but like the whole world, and I think that you can really get into doing the work. I think that there is a lot more to do, but I think it's come a long way. When I was in school, I was only one of 4 females studying civil engineering at Northeastern University in my graduating class, and I know that that's increased dramatically, but it's going to take a long time, because if we're still seeing exclusionary and sexist behaviors in classrooms now, people are less likely to enter those fields, and until we can break it down step by step, it's just going to take longer.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to take advantage of the many STEM classes here at NHS. See you next week.
Thank you so much for watching. The Environmental Club is a group that works to make the school more sustainable with community outreach.
Our meetings are every other Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. in Miss Murphy's room. There are snacks, drinks, and fun people. Come join us!
We're talking about the transcript.